Okay, so for this video, this might be a 2 or 3 part series. It's going to be for these spike gates that I created. It looks like this, and basically I'm going to use it several different ways. One where he has to pull a lever to open some gates, other gates it just closes automatically when he hits a collider. So first I'm going to create the lever first. So with this FBX selected, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to generate colliders. Then I'm going to go to put a rig and create from this model, create avatar from this model. So in the scene, I'm going to right click and create an empty and call it spike gate. I'll drag and drop the spike gate here, but first I'm going to set the transform to 0, 0, 0. I'm not sure what's up with the texture here, but it seems like all black on one side. I'll worry about that later. Yeah, this has to be 0, 0, 0 as well. And I'm going to parent it under here. And in the spike gate, I'm going to create an animator. First, I need to create an animator called I'm going to create an animator controller called spike gate. Spike gate, I'm going to specify the controller, which is spike gate, and the avatar is going to be spikes. And right after that, I'm going to create a script. I'll call this spike gate, and so I'm going to open up that script, and I want to hop back in here and make sure that I drop the spike gate script in case I forget. And I'm going to hop into the animator and set up the animator. So I'm going to create a right click, create state from new blend tree. This one I'll call open close. I can open that up. I want to add 2 motion fields. One's going to be up, and the other one is going to be down. So if I press play, oh, I forgot to in the animations, I have to make sure that the spike down is looped, as well as the spike up. So back in the animator, if I play, it's normally up. Oh, sorry, I need to reverse these. Normally down, normally open, and then if this is set to 1, then it's closes. And I'm going to rename this to open. And I'm also going to create 2 triggers called opening and another trigger called closing. So I want to go to the base layer again, and I want to drag the first one, which is called going down. This is going down. I'm going to rename it to opening. I want to create a transition on the way there, has no exit time, and the trigger is going to be opening, and then it bounces back automatically. And I would do the same thing with going up, which means closing, so I'll call this closing. And same deal, may transition there, may transition back. The transition there has no exit time, and the trigger is closing. And on the way back, I just need to turn off has exit time. And now I'm going to go into the script, and I'm going to start off by creating some variables. So the first one is an animator called animator, and I'm going to create a public boolean called normally open, and by default it's going to be set to true. So in the start function, I need to set the animator. So the animator is get component animator, and I want to make it so that if normally open equals true, then animator dot set float open is set to 0, else if normally open is equal to false, then animator dot set float open is set to 1. So this normally open is a public boolean, so it can be set publicly. By default it's true, but if it's normally closed, the player can uncheck it out in the editor. And one last thing that I have to do in this script, this just sets whether it's open or closed at the beginning, so that whoever's putting together a level, they can just set it down in the editor. Down here, I need to create a public void called close spikes, and the idea with this is that this is going to be triggered somewhere outside of this script. Close spikes. And in here, I'm going to put I don't know why it's doing that. Let me undo this. Oh, there we go. Okay, I shouldn't have put this semicolon. So the in here, I'm going to put animator dot set trigger closing start coroutine set close, and outside of that function I'm going to put enumerator set close, seconds. Now I'm going to do half a second. Animator dot set float open to 1. So basically what's going on here is somewhere outside of the script it's going to trigger this, and once this is triggered, the animator is going to play the closing animation, which is this one, and that closing animation takes about, I think, 1 second. So as soon as it starts playing, it also does the quarantine, and because it takes 1 second, I want to do it halfway through. I don't want this to happen too close to the beginning or the end. I want it to be somewhere in the middle of this animation. Somewhere in the middle of that animation, I'm going to set the float, this float, to 0 or 1. So in this case I'm setting it to 1. So I need to do the same thing for the opposite scenario. So I'm going to copy paste, and this one's going to be called open spikes, and it's going to trigger the opening trigger, and I'm going to do set open, start routine set open, enumerator set open, and after half a second it's going to set open to 0. Actually, I made a small error in my script. In the start function, the animator, instead of putting animator equals to, I put animator period. So I've got to change that. And I've already compiled it, so I'm going to go in here. So normally open, if I hit play with this boolean checked, as you can see, the spikes are down. But if I stop the game and I uncheck it, then the spike should begin up. There we go. So as you can see, it begins up. Okay, so that's all I wanted to do for this video. I'm not going to fit anything else into this video. So yeah, so the anybody putting together a level, all they have to do is check this. Okay, so the next video, the next video, and probably there's going to be a third one as well. I'm going to deal with a lever that can open the gate, and as well as a collider that can close the gate. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you in the next two videos. Okay, thanks. Okay, the last video I worked on the spikes, and now I'm going to work on a lever that opens it if it happens to be in a closed state like this. So first I'm going to go to my model, and I'm going to generate colliders, hit apply, go to regs, create avatar from this model, apply. Then I'm going to go into the animations, and there's the idle animation, and that has to loop, as well as the open idle. And I'm going to go into, first I'm going to create an empty called lever, and I'm going to set it to 0, 0, 0. I'll put these spikes a little bit further away, and right where this lever is, I'm going to place the FBX. I'm going to parent it under the lever. I need to create an animator called, let's call it lever animator. Open that up. First I'll create component, and I want to call it, or select a lever animator. The avatar is the lever from the default pose. I also need to open up the player controller just to show you which button I'm using. I'm using the middle mouse button, which is the interact button. So in order to make that work, I have to, actually I'll work on that in a bit. I'm not going to do that quite yet. First, in the animator, I'm going to create a new blend tree. So I want to create two motion fields. So by default, it's going to be like this. So this is not turned on, and then this is turned on. So I'm going to call the variable open. So right now, by default, it's in a closed state, and when it goes like this, it's in an open state. So I'm also going to add the animation opening. Create a trigger called opening, and transition there. I'm going to select it, has exit time shut off, and the trigger is going to be opening, and after the animation plays, it's going to make a transition back without condition. Okay, so in the script, I'm going to create a script called, let's call it lever. I'll open that up. Before I forget, I'm going to hop back into here and select the lever and drop the script onto the lever. And I'll start off by creating some variables. So animator, animator, public game object lever, public game object player, and a boolean called can interact. By default, it will be false. And I need to set the animator. So the animator equals get components animator and I'm also going to start with the I'm just going to copy and paste this the interact the button script. I'll just copy from the door and paste it down here, and I don't need to change anything except for this part here. So if the button is pressed, then this can interact is set to true, and if it's not, then it remains false. So I'm going to compile that. So in the editor, with the lever selected, I want to add a player input component, and the top field here, I'm going to drag and drop the player controller input system. The behavior, it's going to be invoke Unity events. I'm going to drop this down. Events. So here it's asking for the script. So what I need to do is I need to move down. I'm going to open this up again. And I want to drag and drop this script into this little field for interact. And under the lever, which is the name of the script, I'm looking for interact. So this is whenever the middle mouse button is pressed, this gets triggered, which triggers this here. So before I proceed, I'm going to go into the scene here, and I'm going to grab the default pose, and I'm going to nudge it if this is the center pivot of the entire object, then the FBX itself, I'm going to nudge it like this, because if I go to my Blender file, the center of the object is here, but the center of the player is here. So the player needs to snap to the lever. It needs to snap to here, not the object itself. So the object needs to move roughly maybe this much. I'll just leave it like that for now. And I'm going to go back to my script. So if this is true, if can interact is equal to true, then animator dot set trigger opening. So it's starting to open. I'll also do whoops. Start coroutine set open. I enumerator set open yield return new wait 4 seconds, and after half a second I'm going to say animator dot set float open is set to 1, and I'm doing this after half a second because I think this animation takes 1 second to play, so I'm going to set this halfway through this animation. Another thing that I have to do is the player dot transform dot position equals the transform position of the lever. And same thing with the rotation, so I'm just going to copy and paste this. As a player, I need to, with the player selected, I want to go into the animator, and I want to create a trigger called pull lever, and I need to drag and drop the pull lever animation. Pull lever. It's going to make a transition. Has actually been turned off. Pull lever has to be triggered, and after the animation is played, it bounces back automatically. So in the player script, I'm going to create a public void called pull lever, and the animator dot set trigger pull lever, which is what I just created in the animator. So that's going to be triggered by. I'm just going to copy and paste something. Let's paste this here. So when the button is pressed, can interact equals true. The lever starts opening. The player goes to position, is rotated with the same rotation as the lever, and it triggers this here because the player has to play the animation as well. So I'm going to compile that. Okay, so this video is getting way too close to 15 minutes, which is my limit for the YouTube video, so I'm going to have to continue this in the third video. Okay, so I'll see you then. Okay, so this is a continuation from the last video. This is part 3. I didn't get a chance to try this out, so I'm going to hop back into the editor after compiling that script. And with the lever selected, as you can see, there's 2 things that I need to drop in here. I need to drop in, oh sorry, I need to fix one thing. This is not game object, is lever, it's spike gate. And actually forgot to do something. So the spike gate, if I can, I don't know what happened to my script. Okay, so spike gate, I'm going to copy and paste this, and I want to say spike gate, get component spike gate, which is the name of the spike gate script, and I'm trying to trigger open spikes. So I'm going to change this to open spikes. Open spikes. So I'm going to compile that. I'm going to go back into the editor. Lever selected again. The spike gate is, I'm going to reference this one right here. This one right in front of us. So I'm just going to drop this in, and it's also asking for the player, so I'm going to drop the player in. One thing that I forgot is I forgot to set the distance. This should only happen if he's within a certain distance, so I need to calculate distance. So first I need to copy and paste this is the player float from the door. I'm just going to paste it in to the lever script. I'm going to calculate the distance to player in the update script, so it's constantly updating the distance to player. And the can interact should only be set to true if the button is pressed and distance to player is smaller or equal to 2. So I want to compile that. I go back into the editor and press play. So as you can see, the spikes are up ahead and the levers are in front of me. So if I press the middle mouse button, it does nothing. But once I get to a certain distance and I press the button, he goes into position. He should go into position, pull the lever, and the spikes go down. And the animation plays twice for some reason. I'm not sure why. But the point is, it works. So that part is done for now. The next part is I want to create a collider that closes a spike gate that's normally open. So these two, I'm just going to put this over here, group it over here. I want to copy and paste this spike gate. I want to put it down here. Whoops. The very bottom. This spike gate is going to be normally open. So I need it to close whenever he hits a collider. So I want to create empty. This is going to be spike gate closing collider. Set it to 0, 0. I'll create a box collider, and I'm going to make it a trigger. And instead of like resizing it here, I'm just going to resize it over here. I'm not going to resize it for now. I'll make it really simple. I'll make it 2 by 2, make it nice and big, and bring it up. And I need to create a script. So create the script. Call it collider close spike gate, and open that up, and make sure I drag and drop that. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop that script onto collider, and with this open, I'm just going to copy and paste a non-trigger enter. If other game object is player, I'm just going to copy and paste. First I need to create a public game object. Game object spike gate, and here's my lever. From my lever, when the player enters the trigger, then I'm going to close, instead of open, close spike gate. So spike gate, get component, spike gate script, close spike gate. So what I'm basically doing is I'm triggering this function that closes it and does the quarantine to set it. So all I need to do is compile. Okay, I'm going to go into the editor. I'm going to select the spike gate collider and drag and drop the spike gate into this field, which is this spike gate, not this one, and making sure that normally open is true. So if I hit play, it's as you can see, the spike gate is open. So if I move ahead and collide with the collider, the invisible collider, then it should come up. And that's all I wanted to do. Yeah, that's the end of the series. Thankfully, I don't have to do a fourth video. Hopefully you like that, and please be on the lookout for more videos, because there's a couple more things that I want to do with this project. But first, I'm going to take all the stuff that I created in this video and I'm going to distribute it throughout the castle, because there's a whole bunch of places that I can use these spikes and these levers and colliders. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy that, and hope to see you in the future.